Alrighty, and once again we are alive. Alive at the end of a week, which is always appreciated. Hello everyone, I hope this finds you all doing well. So, I am here once again, trying to do my art thing while chatting with folks, and I have a special guest tonight, a friend who I really haven't gotten to talk to in a very long time, even when we were both at conventions. I am joined by the Brony Chef.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, good
Indeed, we
evening, and
haven't
good
talked
night.
like we haven't sat down and had a proper talk since what? BabsCon 20
2015?
no, 18. I think it was 18. I don't know, the one where Lauren Faust went. That was the one we started talking about Batman and all those things because that was really fun. I was really drunk. Well, we were both drunk.
It's pretty rare. They serve good drinks there.
Oh yeah.
But it was a fun conversation, and I was impressed. You know a wonderful history of Batman, Superman, DC Comics in general.
Well, here's the thing. I am a really I'm a huge nerd. Like my dad, it's obsessed with everything DC related. So my mind, it's a mosh between DC, Star Trek, and Star Wars. And Star Wars is because my mom is a huge fan, and my dad's a huge fan of Star Trek. So usually, we have those conversations where you don't want to be part of it because certain things tends to start flying around.
Oh, that sounds like just about any convention for such
Yeah,
things. A
I mean,
nerd convention. Anyone who thinks nerds can't put up a fight has never gotten into a heated argument.
thank God no. But it's always really interesting how people tend to be like, hey, how do you know much? And I'm just like, you know what? It's just dealing with my mom and dad. They're huge nerds. Like my mom introduced me to anime with Captain Tsubasa, and from that on, it was just a train wreck for myself. It's just insane.
Captain Tsubasa, is that a? I'm trying to remember. Is that a space anime or a soccer anime?
A soccer anime.
Okay, because for some reason I'm thinking of the irresponsible Captain Tyler,
Yes.
but uh, maybe that's just what I default to when I think of anime and captains. Because for me that was hilarious. Tyler Conjo.
I love the banner, by the way. Please don't cook me.
Well, I've often been compared to a chicken, so something foul may happen.
Well, here's the thing: griffins do have chicken thigh, so I can work with that.
They do. Well, let's see. I mean, what are you? You're part bird, part lion, and griffin, lion, yeah. And then with hippogriffs, you're adding some horse into the mix.
Yes, indeed. That's you know, what were you in? Because I haven't had this proper conversation with lots of bronies. Like, how do you felt when they introduced like all of these different kinds of races we were not aware of in the movie?
Oh, I went. Well, they advertised the hippogriffs pretty early on, so I had a chance to go. Oh no.
The sea ponies, yeah. I
The,
remember Nora flipping out on Twitter.
and I wrestled with it because like, but I chose this character specifically to be different. That I well, it's hipster of me, but I didn't want to be like every other person with a pony avatar.
Okay,
And
okay.
I borrowed inspiration from Gilda and from Big Macintosh to create this. It's like ultimately I came down on, you know what? I'm eager to see what they do, but I'm not changing what I've done. The whole point of this was to be nonconformist.
Okay.
And although I'm very slowly working on a project that will, this is in honor of the efforts of the charity auction MLP MSPF. Uh, Basically, I promised that I would do a video with a classic or with the MLP style hippogriff. So of course Silver's going to have an identity crisis. Oh no, I'm conformist.
Oh, by the way, spoilers.
Believe me, I've not even begun to spoil.
Oh God.
but But to spoil a little bit of what I'm working on for all the folks at home, last week, along with first I created this background while talking to my friend Sky. Then while catching up with Ink Rose, I got to draw Billy Twilight having a play date with Flurry Heart in the aftermath of Aelicorn. And of course, Twilight Velvet's reaction, along with Cadence.
Yes.
So I'm especially proud of Velvet's expression.
Yeah, it's really good. This is like, what's going on here?
I can't handle being a mother again.
I need to sleep. That's why I got rid of you at such young age, Celestia.
I'm supposed to be the cool grandma who just comes by for a weekend or two. Or three. That sounds really dark. But one thing I thought about is that Spike, ever helpful guy who basically got saddled with this whole thing when Twilight's friends bailed in the shorts. It's like, wow, way to go, guys. He would have toys set out for a play date. I mean, he's just that good.
Okay.
So I'm going to make some toys tonight.
Nice.
And catch up, because as you say, even when we're at conventions, we just haven't had a chance to really shoot the breeze in a while.
Yeah. Like, you have your panels, I have my panels, and recently, cooking stuff in conventions, it's really, really, it's really hard to have, a fun time with your friends at conventions. It's beginning to go to that point. Like, I remember that last year, BabsCons, I had a small incident at BabsCon. I remember arriving back to my hotel room at 4 a.m. in the morning after being awake for almost 24 hours. Just slept 2.5 hours, woke up, go do breakfast, and then just crash the floor because I was sleeping on the floor.
Oh man!
For the next 3 hours. That's all right. Here's a fun fact: when I go to conventions, I rarely sleep on a bed.
You share a room with friends, or just?
Yeah. For example, I share a room with Dusty. So BabsCon always gives me, a hotel room, so they're pretty nice, and I always roommate with other people. But here's the thing: since I am what you can say not thin, sleeping on the floor while walking all day long does amazing things for my back. Just cracks everything, and it's just amazing.
Really?
Like my back just cracks, and it's just a delightful feeling. So I tend to sleep on the floor as much as I can.
Huh.
For example, the first time I roommated with Dusty was at which con was it? I think it was BabsCon. Yeah, BabsCon, and he was like, you don't want to sleep on the bed, like the proper bed, because they usually give us like a two bed room. I was like, no, I'm fine on on the floor. And he asked why, and then I just went like, oh, because I'm not that thin. It just cracks every bone on my back, and it's just amazing. And then he tried it, and he was like, it's cool, but I like my bed. I was like, I get it, no worries.
I'll admit, I'm trying to think. I usually opt for a bed, but I've slept on the floor a few times, and you think, oh, I'll never get to sleep. It's just so hard.
Exactly. You're so exhausted from the whole convention thing that you just, oh, my honesty, I just pass out.
I know that feeling. I mean, conventions are not kind for sleep schedules.
I know.
And it's funny when you talk about having to do so much at conventions. I'm glad people get together. They have fun at conventions. It's very different when you're running panels or a vending table or serve as master ceremonies. I I think I've actually ruined conventions for myself in a sense. I can never go back to just going to a convention.
That's right. That's right.
Right?
Like,
I'll just feel anxious. I'm not helping.
yeah. So, um, because I started this brony whole convention thing, I've never, been on a convention like as a normal attendee, which is weird. I'm always hopping everywhere just to see who to help or something like that because I can't.
You've got a very strong work ethic,
Yeah. Well, I'm a chef. I always need to do something.
which I find fascinating. Usually in a fandom, certain things are a given. You'll find people who apply their artistic talent. You'll find bozos like myself who talk about things ad nauseum on YouTube. But a chef is not something I've regularly encountered in fandoms. How
Well,
did you get involved as a chef within the Peroni community?
oh, here it comes. Here it comes. So I, I had a niece. And she was really into the pony stuff. Like she was really into the pony stuff. Uh, she was 4 years old. Yeah, she was 4 years old at the time. So she liked, the whole pony. And well, as a normal adult, I always ignored her when she wanted to watch the pastel colored ponies. I always pick up my mobile phone and just start playing games or just answering, text messages. And I was already, about to get out of from culinary school. So she was like, "Oh, look, that blue pony." I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, it's nice. That's cool, cool, great." But then, unfortunately, she was diagnosed with leukemia. So she, while she was getting her chemotherapies, she really loved to watch MLP because she was like on those times she didn't feel any pain whatsoever. So that's great. Then I finished my shift on the Marriott at the time. I went to my room, closed the door, tampered the door because I didn't want anybody to hear what I was going to watch, right? And I started watching the whole first season of MLP, and I just binge watched the whole first season and the first two episodes of season two. The next day, I arrived to the hospital with my niece Regina, and I just sat down, dead face in the middle, and I just looked at her, and I was just like, "Applejack's best pony." And then I just moved my side away from her, and she just like, "Hey," and I was like, "Yeah, AJ's best pony." "No way, Rainbow Dash's best pony." So we went there for like 4 hours about discussing who was best pony and why she was, Rainbow Dash was best pony, right? Um, Eventually she got out of the hospital and we were to the mall. She wanted ponies. I bought her like four or five of the ones she wanted, because she was a little kid and she tended to lose things. So I really loved her. Unfortunately, she passed away.
Oh.
She lost the fight, and well, like being the Brony Chef, it was because of her. Because one day when while she was on the hospital, she wanted. We were talking about pony, and she asked me, "Is do you think Pinkie Pie's mane actually tastes like cotton candy?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I really do." And since the chemos give you fever, she was like, "I really liked a Pinkie Pie Kondo candy ice cream." So I I finished taking care of her mom arrived, my cousin arrived. She was taken care of. I went to my house and I made her a Pinkie Pie Kondo candy ice cream, and you know I gave it to her next day, and she was like, "Wow, this is so good!" And then she just continued asking for different recipes from the show, and she basically was the one who inspired me watching a show, seeing a dish, and was like, "Okay, I saw this. This can be real, and I don't know how. I'm gonna make it real." right? So that's the whole process of why I started in the fandom as who I am.
Wow. I appreciate you sharing that story with us. That's, a, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Oh my
like I
goodness.
really do miss her, but I always keep it with me. I do have a tattoo with Rainbow Dash as a Wonderbolt. Well, as a pre-Wonderbolt. Pixel Kitties designed this tattoo, which was one of the best things of my life. But it's a really interesting story. Like people tend to ask that question when I'm on a panel, and I'm just always like, "Do you really want to cry? Because this is not a happy story." And they're like, "Yeah, shoot it." And when I finish this story, people tend to just be on a dead silence and be like, "I'm sorry to us," and I was like, "No, no worries."
Well, I really do appreciate you sharing that with us because that is a very heartfelt story. And, well, honestly, I want part of me wants to say something positive and uplifting, but a part of me is like, do not spoil this. Don't, don't screw it up.
No worries. I took no offense. I'm not easily offended, so worry not.
But has your opinion on best pony changed over the years? Is Applejack still your
No,
number one?
AJ is still number one. I
Oh,
can really relate with AJ in so many things,
it's fine. She's my
especially because
second favorite, right after Fluttershy.
so that's right. Fluttershy is adorable.
She is, and to my great surprise, both of them work really well together.
Yeah, they do complement each other.
For a time, like after Bats, I didn't know if they really could, but then they started going on map missions and like proved me wrong, for which I'm glad. All right. Well, I gonna shift gears slightly as we go through the chat. One question that came up: are we fans of James Bond? We've talked Star Trek, we've talked ponies, but what about Bond? James Bond.
I do love Bond. I really do love Bond. It's really nice.
I've been.
It's like
Mhm.
easy popcorn summer movie, and it's always fun to go to the theater, just sit down and see mindless violence with no reason whatsoever, and just watching this British guy being cool for the rest of the world, which is really nice.
I'm much the same. Although my friends helped me catch up on Bond. Because Goldeneye was my first Bond movie that I could fully remember,
Okay.
and well, that was a different era for Bond. Then my friends brought me back and had me watch the whole thing. Moonraker broke my brain
Okay.
because Moonraker's the one where he's like on a hovercraft going through a plaza, and even the pigeons are doing double takes, and then
Yeah.
his boat turns into a paraglider. I mean, I see him heading. I see him heading towards the waterfall. It's like, oh, too bad your boat doesn't come with the paraglider. Next thing you know, it transforms. Like, I was kidding.
uh, it's just like I said, it's just mindless violence for the heck of it, which is really nice in my opinion.
Although a part of me also just, how do I put this? In talking about a show aimed at young women, I've had to reevaluate it, and there are times I think, wow, Bond is really awful. Half the women he seduces for a night end up getting killed. It's like
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
oh,
like the Bond curse.
and it's like, oh, now I'm being super serious, y'all. But at the same time, it's like I can't ignore this now.
Yep.
It's like a slasher movie. You say, don't go into that room. That's where the killer is. It's like, don't spend the night with Bond. You're gonna die. And he'll be like really upset for like a scene and then be right back at it.
Yeah. So you can always know which one is going to be the girl or the woman Bond is going to get the information out of it. You're like, yeah, that's the one. Why? No, it's not because character improvement. It's not because she's well written. No, it's because the dress is important and the camera must pan out to see it.
Yes, beware the camera pan of doom. Doom.
You might say.
We're all doomed. Although, do you have a favorite Bond?
Um, I really, really do like Daniel Craig. Like, I really do. Like, even though I know he's not happy with the character right now, but I really do like how he is carrying the new James Bond movies, returning to the really old ones, which is really nice.
Well, we're of the same mind. I've greatly enjoyed him as well. I mean, I know Connery was the first Bond, so to speak,
Yeah,
but I feel like Craig carries it better. Meanwhile,
yeah.
some
He's just I don't know how to he when you see him just on the screen, you can only see, you know what, this is James Bond. If it's like the Harry Potter with Daniel Radcliffe. It's like no matter how many movies he's gonna be in, he's always going to be Harry Potter,
hmm,
right? Same thing with Daniel Craig. He's an amazing actor. He's done amazing movies. But now every time I see him on, on a movie, I'm just like, this is just Bond on a different mission using an alias,
I will
as
say
far as I'm concerned.
he's the second best stormtrooper.
Yes.
The best being the ones that saw Kylo Ren throwing a hissy and destroying stuff and actually turned around and walked away. It's like
But
us.
he was not the one that was like, and now I'll drop my weapon. He was supposed to be that one.
Well, wasn't he? I thought that's what I heard. I heard his voice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was he. I'll walk away and leave my weapon. But he did not have the same survival instinct as those two. I won't say brave, but very practical soldiers, which is what part of what makes them so much fun. Let's see here. Oh, Cotton Law asks if we've seen the movie The Green Book. I
I haven't heard of it. Green what?
The Green Book. Now, I have not seen the movie, but I have seen a documentary talking about what it really was. The Green Book, the movie, is a dramatized history of a black pianist who went on tour in the South, and he had
Okay.
an escort, a bodyguard or driver, and it was about the friendship they made, but also witnessing this man was he was invited to play, and he's a phenomenal pianist. But because he was black, he was not allowed to use the bathrooms. He was not allowed to dine in the very restaurants in which he played. And the Green
Okay.
Book is a collection. It is basically a tour guide of the South for black people. Where are they allowed to stay? Where can they eat? What are some of the safer places to be in, let's face it, very hostile territory?
Okay.
And watching the Green Book documentary was peering into a period of history that I really didn't appreciate all the nuance. Case in point, a lot of black business owners who they were helping campaign for civil rights, that anyone can stay
Okay.
at a hotel. Now think about it for a minute. If you succeed, and now people of various nationalities can go to really hot premier hotels, they're not going to want to keep going to to your hotel, which unfortunately, because well, black business owners have have so much stacked against them, they can't really compete in quality. And yet, these same owners were working actively to make this happen because they understood this wasn't about making things right for their business, it was making things right in America. And that
Okay.
floor that it hit me. I hadn't truly appreciated that.
Well, unfortunately, some movies don't make it where I live. I'm currently living in Mexico,
Hmm.
so I I promise you I'm gonna watch it tonight. I think it has to be on Amazon Prime Video. It has to be
I I would be confident it is. But
Amazon Prime. Like I understand the whole situation about black people in America, which is really really disgusting at the time.
and unfortunately, we're still struggling with it.
I've heard and I've seen the news. Every day I'm watching the news about how things are unveiling, and it's, in my point of view, it's sad to see um, a place like America, which it's one of my favorite places to be because you know my best friends live there. Pony conventions tends to be in America, right? Um, and I've seen some vaguely racism when I travel to America in in the costumes in every single place, and it's just ridiculous. Like for example, I even got once racism in Tennessee, which was absolutely ridiculous. But that's another story. Um, it's just I really want to see because I don't want to talk about it because if I don't know, I think I might, you know, misunderstand some of the things that the movie is trying to portray.
Hmm.
So I really would like to see it first before having an opinion of the movie.
Well, I too I've not yet seen it. I should. But if let's see, my family and I watched the Green Book documentary through a PBS app.
Okay.
So it might be available on their website or it might also be available on Amazon streaming, but it offered a tremendous amount of insight into the role, the how businesses have helped craft the civil rights and support it. And
Okay.
one other thing that really floored me, and people were recounting. These are people who lived through the civil rights movement and
Okay.
this change, and they talked about how in some towns having a black person was so unexpected that women would scream at the sight that they just see a black person on the street and they just start going into hysterics. And a part of me finds that absurd as that's not an environment I lived in. But then I think, well, this isn't that far removed from our time period. This isn't the
And
distant past, and we're past this. We still struggle with that in various forms.
you still do, and it's not. It's basically everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's really disgusting. Really disgusts me that people thinking because your skin is from a different color automatically becomes you become a different person, right?
Mm. And honestly, I wish I had a roadmap for how to get out of it. I'm doing best to support what I believe in. So, I've gotten heavy. What can I say? It's been an intensive week altogether.
Indeed.
Let's see here. Another question. Uh, what's your opinion? This is from Battleship Agincourt. I'm
Okay.
I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. My apologies. What's your opinion on the next generation of MLP so far? I, for one, hope they introduce a new story and new characters. Well,
Are we talking G4.5 or G5?
I think we're looking ahead to G5.
Okay.
So I've personally I've seen the concept art that was bandied about, but nothing is certain yet. I guess.
I'm willing to.
Oh, sorry.
No, no, no. Go on, go on. Sorry.
I guess the thing to unpack here is the question of new characters. Would you watch a My Little Pony that wasn't starring Twilight Sparkle and friends?
And friends. Here's the thing. Friendship is Magic set the bar so high right now. Like, so high that it's almost impossible, in my point of view, that just G5 can be better than it, right? So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm not gonna say no because in the end, it's they are teaching different stories and teaching different lessons that kids at the point of time the show is airing need to learn, right? So I'm gonna give it a shot. I really do expect good writing. I really do expect good character designs, good story arcs, and everything. But do I think it's gonna be as good as Friendship is Magic? Ish. That's my stance. I like the concept art, not gonna lie, but G4 Friendship is Magic is just I think was the perfect combination of the social structure at the time and the amount of positivity the show was giving. And I believe right now in our current situation, if G5 airs tomorrow, it's gonna get so much love, almost like G4. That's my point of view.
I we do need a lot of positivity. I 2019 was the year that just seemed to end a lot of stuff. My Little Pony ran its course. Game of Thrones went out on a terrible note.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kinda like you. Kinda.
and I tend to fall in the negative, even though, funny enough, BabsCon 2019, a bunch of us got together to watch an episode of Game of Thrones that evening, and
I think you were with us, right?
yes, with you, Dusty, Race,
You,
and
Saber,
Saber.
Ace Beam. Yeah.
Uh, Keyframe was with us, I think. I know we had dinner with Keyframe, but and
Yeah.
Lightning Bliss, but I'm trying to remember if she joined us for the showing. I'll have to ask her. But
I remember we ate cake.
we
That
ate
was fun.
we ate cake because it was Dusty's birthday celebration,
Yep.
and I I have I too very much criticize how Game of Thrones ended, but I will always have a fond memory of that night and just hanging with everyone. But
It was really good.
oh yeah, that was the best. I mean, sometimes it doesn't even matter if the show's good; it's just the company's great.
Indeed. But for example, I remember watching the Game of Thrones series finale on a gamer pub near my house. So it was packed. Like people were standing up. There was not a single soul, extra soul could enter that place. So everybody was like, "Whoa, whoa!" And then in the end, when the show was just dimming down, everybody was just like dead silent, and I was like, you know, I get why people are hating it, but I think it's okay. And this is a hot take. I'm sorry, but the the series caught up to the books and then started surpassing. So it was kind of imagine if like the Harry Potter movies went so fast that they even ended first the Harry Potter movies before you know the books were out. So that's where the writers had to go full on and be creative and stop relying on a book, which they used to do back on those past seasons.
Well, I agree, and you can kind of tell the difference. Although someone made a very with all the talk of Game of Thrones, someone made a very good point. George R. R. Martin makes stories where they're very character driven, but that means it's very hard to reach an actual conclusion.
Yeah.
And in the later seasons, by almost necessity, the plot began to assert itself over the characters. Doesn't mean I'm okay with how Tyrion suddenly became an incredibly dense person.
Give me a second. Give me a second.
Okay. Okay, okay. Uh, but while we're waiting, I do want to loop back around to My Little Pony and the idea of new characters that the show, if the show had a different cast. I looked at the Transformers, and basically, it's very. I can't really picture a Transformers series without Optimus Prime in some form. Recently, we had Cyberverse, which was much more Bumblebee focused, but still, Prime was an important part of that. I
Well,
wonder, is Twilight Sparkle now synonymous with My Little Pony?
well, it's maybe because Optimus Prime, it's like the symbol of um of Transformers. Even though, thanks to the Michael Bay movies, Bumblebee became a big thing, right?
Mm.
Um, what song can we? Give me a second. My dog wants to go out.
Oh, it's all good.
Hear me? Come on. Okay. So, yeah, exactly. Even Beast Wars had Optimus Prime, and I remember that show so fondly, even though the animation was so crappy. Um, but correct me if I'm wrong, Silva. Not every single iteration of My Little Pony had a Twilight Sparkle.
No, in fact, G4 is the first time she was going to be Sparkler, a G1 pony who had, like, I think, crystal eyes.
Right. I think the only pony consistent between the whole franchise, best pony, Applejack.
It's true. It's true.
So sorry, I just had to make that pause. But I think Twilight Sparkle, it's an essential pony for G4, right? For Friendship is Magic. So the fact they're rebooting the series, I think they can introduce a different character that can drive, and get that whole story arc of G5 to another point of view.
It's possible. Though, you want to know the scary thing about the MLP franchise?
What?
The most common recurring character, even more than Applejack, is Spike.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
In a show called My Little Pony, the dragon is the most common recurring character. I don't know how to feel about that.
Neither. I have mixed feelings about it.
Of course, if you the spikes across the ages are wildly different. I mean, basically,
Well,
it's
yeah,
characters with the same name, but that's it.
and the same color pattern.
Yep, they're always a shade of purple. Although, like, what is it? The Princess Promenade in G3, he
Right.
was a much darker violet,
Okay.
much darker. Darkness.
Dark.
Let's see here. Oh, Commodore Steele asks if you could add something to MLP, what would you add?
Lasers. Nah, just joking. Um, I think I don't know. I think MLP at the time where I'm currently standing on G4, it's perfect on its own way. So I wouldn't add nothing. Maybe mm, another story arc like Megan McCarthy did, which was amazing with the whole trio of Harmony, which was really a really good, story arc, all of the episodes sort of connected. Maybe those kind of story arcs, I don't know, but um, a season 10 will be great. I wouldn't mind. I'm pretty sure nobody here would mind a season 10 of Gen 4. Would you?
Not at all. The MLP comics, which have been on hiatus in the current situation, they are
Yeah.
promising a season 10.
Oh, I think they are already on season 10, according to Andy.
They are, but unfortunately, none of the issues have come out yet.
Damn it! That's right.
I know, right?
Pandemic.
It's no
Oh
fair.
god.
But we'll get
What
there.
a plague.
Ugh, it's rough. Personally, I mean, I agree. They've added so much. I mean, compare G4 season one and the world where a zebra and a griffin and a mule were the biggest extensions beyond pony, and now
Yeah.
suddenly look at all that is before us. Uh, but I would, in terms of My Little Pony G4, I'd add some episodes of the School of Friendship where the students are in conflict and they need mentorship from the main cast. I think there were too many episodes that showed the students learning despite the main cast,
Yeah.
and that didn't do anyone a great service. We need to see why these would be great
Well,
teachers.
so here's the thing. Here's what the School of Friendship, saga whole thing was not my favorite, season. In all honesty, even the Twilight Corn stuff was a good one. Um, but I think what Hasbro wanted to do is that G5 would be the School of Friendship characters. So they were trying to set up the new generation on that season. But since it failed, they were like, oh god. Oh well, since we kind of messed up, let's return back to our normal, you know, pastel colored ponies. I don't know. That's my take on it.
I'm not sure, but honestly, I wouldn't mind them revisiting the idea of a school where various individuals from different countries get together.
Right?
Although it's funny, while My Little Pony was in its final seasons, another show, Philly Fantasia, started up, which takes place in Magic School, and yeah, I can't really. It doesn't replace Pony for me by any means. Also
I
because,
haven't seen it. I've seen the posts on Equestria Daily, and I remember laughing so hard that morning. My neighbors were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, sorry."
well, I will say that yeah, the school. I don't know why, but somehow making teachers stupid is people default to that in storytelling. The teachers at that school are even worse at teaching.
At teaching. Oh god.
I watch it with some of my friends at conventions. We get a laugh, but we also like, wow, they're bad at this. I mean, they're
Oh
really
god.
bad at this. Let's see here. Oh, we have a the Phantom Master asks, "How do you feel if I said barbecue chicken right now? I'd feel resentful but hungry."
Since I'm on a diet, I'll say bon appetit and save me some for Sunday because it's my cheat meal.
Ah, there you go.
Please. I'm hungry.
We won't go too far down that road.
Yeah.
Mostly because giving folks ideas. And also questions looping back to our James Bond discussion. Who's your favorite Bond villain?
Hmm. Mm, what's its name? The one with the gold, with the jaws. I think it's
Oh, Jaws with the
called.
steel mouth.
Yeah. Yes. It's-
He is wonderfully iconic. He's also part of what broke me in Moonraker. Just goes, wait, he talks? Oh my god, he talks!
But he's so good. Like, imagine yourself watching you from a third person perspective, and imagine watching your face the time he just smiles and be like, "Oh God, those teeth! The hell!"
Oh my gosh, Fiora the Tank Girl followed me.
There we go.
Ah,
Hi, Fiora.
hi Fiora. Oh, that's awesome. Fiora is the person who actually helped me get uh, started on streaming. Very knowledgeable. Also, Brony Chef, I appreciate that you gave me a follow as well.
Yes, yes, I just followed you on Twitch.
Oh, it's marvelous. I appreciate all the folks. In fact, I need to just check in on Twitch. I don't always get to see. Oh, wow. Fiora rated with a party of 15. Thank you.
There we go.
As did Filmer Brony TV is hosting. So much appreciated. So greetings one and all. Thank you for this friendly raid. This is not like a Destiny raid where everything tries to kill you. And I can't get even past the first stage because I have no idea what's going on.
So, who's your favorite Bond villain?
My favorite Bond... Well, gosh, we've already agreed on Daniel Craig. I feel like I shouldn't say Jaws, even though he is fascinating. But let's see here. You know, Mr. Silver... I realize that sounds narcissistic. But the villain from Skyfall. I mean, a guy who's just so eccentric and yet is so much a foil to Bond. And that scene where he's look upon your work.
Raul Silva, right?
I believe so.
Yes, Raul Silva.
I mostly remember him as that guy who blew up the Bond car. And then you heard the music play. It's like, oh, it's on now. Someone's in trouble.
It's a good one.
I heard another. Oh, 50 Shades of Australia. Oh my. Would that be hot, hotter, hottest, super hot? I can only live 50 Shades of heat. I had the pleasure of going to Australia a long time ago. I should go back, if only to see my friend Anthony C. It's beautiful, although hearing about all the various animals that could poison, bite, basically kill you. Some jokes have a reason why they exist.
Indeed.
Also, what was it? The Blue Mountains, beautiful, but probably the quietest part of our trip. Much more a fan of the Great Barrier Reef.
I haven't been to Australia. I hate spiders.
Oh.
Like, I was earlier on Fiora's stream while she was playing SpongeBob SquarePants. She was enjoying it so much. You can, watch her face of happiness in that stream. And we're talking about Australia, and I was like, if I go to Australia and a bloody spider just pops anywhere, Australia suddenly just catches on fire, like the whole thing, including New Zealand, because I cannot stand a spider. Like I really can't.
Mm.
And I know for a fact that Australia has the most poisonous spiders in the world. So that's one of the things I'm not eager to discover. Whenever I go to Australia and be like, oh, wonderful land of Australia. And as soon as I go down, the plane, like a bloody spider on top, I'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to stay on the plane until, pops again back to Mexico or wherever the hell I'm going to live in the moment. So,
well, yes, I won't go into detail of what I learned there. I will say that there were cockatoos. Yes, the cockatoos. They were beautiful.
Nice,
so,
nice.
Focus on the other animals. And like I say, the Great Barrier Reef home to so many beautiful creatures. Just get to see. And coming, I live in a landlocked state, so any chance to see the ocean is whoa, whoa.
Just reminded me of Keanu Reeves. Whoa.
Trinary is asking, since we're talking about travel, is there a place you've always wanted to go and visit, if not live there?
Ah, so I went to Peru 4 years ago. It was the best trip of my life till date. Not going to lie. Amazing food, amazing people, cheap, cheap, cheap. Not going to lie, and the scenery was amazing. I was in Lima. I missed my trip to Machu Picchu, unfortunately, but that was on my end. So I still need to go back and go to Machu Picchu. But living in Peru made me realize how little did I know about Peruvian food. I not going to lie you, Silva. For the whole month I stayed there, I ate ceviche every single day, no matter what, because it's that good.
I need a refresher because I don't know if I've even had ceviche before.
It's just amazing because in Mexico they do have a ceviche, and it's really good. Not gonna lie, it's amazing. But Peruvian ceviche, oh god, it's just beautiful. I had my first Peruvian ceviche was a salmon ceviche, and it was just amazing, like really, really good. So I really would like to live there, and the place I really wanted to go, but for some reason it always happens that somehow something gets cancelled. It's Germany. I always want to go to Germany and visit Germany. It looks beautiful. I really want to go. I was supposed to go this year, but you know, current situation.
Ugh.
I was supposed to go in 2018, but I was dealing with a stuff that I really didn't want. I don't want to talk about it.
Mm.
But yeah.
Um, I'm sorry. I know how it is. Somehow you're like, does the universe just not want me to go somewhere? Come on.
Yeah. And I really wanted to go because I know for a fact because my father has been to Germany a couple of times, and he's just like, it's amazing. The weather is lovely. It's cold. It's rainy. You can have a great beer. Like everything is just really nice. And I'm just like, I really want to go. And every single bloody time I book a trip to Germany, something happens. Like something happens. Oh God. What's your take?
Let's see here. I've always wanted to go to Japan.
Right.
Never been. I was an avid otaku for a time, and of course, you want to go. I confess that the collector in me would want to just spend an entire day, maybe a week in Akibahara,
Yes, yes, yes.
but also just to see all these sites that are referenced in shows I've watched but I've never experienced. I had the opportunity to go at the start of this year, but I had just started a new job and couldn't get away. Uh, but again, a shout out to my friend Sky and my Igor of My Little Ties and Vivid View. They they went and they took tons of pictures, which I got to at least see at HarmonyCon, and this was very touching. Sky rode the Japanese public transit system to collecting so many tickets that he could get a custom made Gundam, an exclusive Gundam that you can only get by turning in tickets. And he brought me one. It is still
Really?
it is still unassembled in my home because I'm like, I need to relearn and improve my skills to do this justice. I need to
Okay.
have a few sacrificial Gundams, probably Zaku's, uh, to try and fail to make kits of, so I can relearn the craft. I did it for a
All right.
time. I was never great, but there's better resources now, including tutorial videos. Some of the things.
Well, let's do this. I've been my 2021 goal is to go to Japan. I'm inviting you to go to Japan with me.
Ooh,
Would you like to go?
I would, but the only struggle would be very limited vacation time.
We can schedule this, after the show. I'm being dead serious.
All right. Well, I'm all for it. I'd love to see Japan.
Okay.
Nepal.
And where would you like to live?
To live? Well, I guess Tokyo is the way to go. Because it's.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Tokyo's expensive from what I know.
All right.
Like, really expensive.
Wait, I'm sorry. When we're talking about living, like you actually want to live somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see Tokyo to be sure. What am I trying to say? I got to go to Ireland with my family several years back, and
Okay.
it was beautiful. I mean, so they're right when they say every shade of green is in Ireland.
Yeah, that's right.
I sometimes I wonder. There was we still joke going through a town. There was a website visitdoonbeg.com. They listed it on the town entrance, and it was just this small, out of the way town. Nothing really stand out. I was like, so we've always joked about Visit Doonbeg, and I'm just like, you know what? Maybe if I wanted to retire somewhere quiet, Doonbeg would be the way to go. But then I don't know. I've lived in America all my life. I've been abroad, but I'm always glad to return home. Faults and all,
Okay.
America is still my home.
Sounds fair.
I think so. Let's see here. Just scrolling through. Question is, what do you think of the devious diesel from Thomas the Tank Engine? I've never watched Thomas, so I have no opinion.
Uh, I'm sorry, I don't. I think I watched one episode when I was like 8 years old, but if I don't remember what I had for breakfast, I'm sorry.
Hmm. No, that's nothing to be sorry about. I'm much the same way. I can't remember properly. Let's see here. Charles Meeker II. I don't know what happened to the first, but if Meeker ended up like Beaker, I worry.
Oh God.
I'm trying to create a good backstory for my dragon OC for My Little Pony. Where do I begin? Ooh, an intriguing question.
Oh God. So this is really nice. Storytime 101 with Silver-Quill because you're the experienced on this sort of things. So, Maestro, it's your time.
Oh, it's my time to shine or to go down in flames. Well, when trying to figure out what to do with the character's backstory, I think one of the first questions is what role do they serve in the story? Uh, how are they? Are they going to be an antagonist, a supporter? Are they meant to point out a paradox? Are they? What is your dragon trying to do in the show? How does he weave into the greater narrative? And that could be interesting. Case in point, talk about Spike. I still wonder about his parents. He confronted the fact that he doesn't have to know who his parents were because he knows who his family is. I'm still a little curious. And I thought, what would cause a dragon to give one of its young to Princess Celestia? Because I don't believe she stole Spike's egg. I believe that somehow she was entrusted with it. So a dragon was meant to entrust his egg to Celestia. Why would a dragon do that, especially if they're defined as territorial? Okay, with that question in mind, I now go to something must have happened to make a dragon not want their young to be raised in dragon kind. They wanted something different and maybe put some hope in Celestia. Okay, what happened then to make a dragon want their child outside dragon kind? Well, something in the structure of dragon society must have really hurt them. and then you can kind of pick where I'm daisy chaining my way backwards in history, and this is just biographical. It's not necessarily character, but my mind flashed back to Smolder's story from the Hearthwarming Club about the dragon lord that was lax in attention and lost her status. And I thought, what if that isn't a story? What if it's somewhat biographical? And that led to, okay, what if Spike's mom was the dethroned dragon lord? And so that now, okay, so now you've got an important watershed event in the character's history. You've got an outcome, so you know sort of point A, point B, but you don't know the character. I find that to define a character, one of the best things to ask is why. Why'd you feel like you had to give your dragon hatchling to a pony princess? Because I didn't want them raised in our culture. Why? Because I think our culture is cruel. Why? Because they stole it from they threw me out. Why? Because I screwed up. Why? Because I was nice. Why? And there's a big question. Why was that dragon lord trying to be kind to other dragons, even though a very real part of their culture, something Spike has worked against, has been the mentality of might makes right. And I think,
Right.
and so now we got to go further back. Why was this dragon trying something different? Is it possible that this dragon lost someone to this might makes right mentality, that they were trying to effect a change? Maybe this dragon had an encounter with someone beyond dragon territory, and it was actually a very positive experience. They thought, wow, what I wouldn't give to see a little bit more of that in my own culture. And so here, now you get to explore what happened even further back to cause this mindset, and how is that impacting? Is this dragon an idealist? Does this dragon have an opinion on what dragons should be versus what they see, and how they try to change that? And are they hard? Is this dragon hard on herself for effectively failing? Because giving up her young to Celestia is kind of saying, I can't raise this hatchling the way I want them to be raised. That's got to be hard, because it's doubly letting go of offspring, but also saying, admitting, I can't do what I would like to have happen. I'm not up to it. That's going to tear at him. So you see how asking all these questions and sort of realizing, okay, what's the motive behind this? What's the cause behind this action? And it works for villains. It works for protagonists. It works for, well, if your character is just sort of a one shot there and gone, you don't worry too much about how they reach this point. But it's still fun to imagine. And I have rambled something fierce.
Yes, you have, and people are demanding a video of this head cannon.
I see Sweetie Blue. Hello, sweetie.
But
Uh,
it's really interesting, like the whole point of Spike's mom giving up because she was not able to raise Spike as she wanted, right? Which is really interesting because, like, for example, remember the first episode with the Dragon Lord? They do have like this really interesting honor system. Like, Dragon Law says I have to give up my title, so here's a contest. So whoever's the best can be the Dragon Lord, right?
mhm.
So I do believe there might be like an inner conflict with the dragons and Spike's family, mom and dad, and somehow Spike was in the middle of the conflict. Because, in all honesty, Spike doesn't get any respect besides Ember. The first time we meet a different, dragon that actually be like, okay, I acknowledge you, but I won't give you, a hard time. Because the rest of the dragons, they are just,
Jerks.
yes, thank you for ending this sentence in a proper and PG-13 way. So I don't know. Maybe the other dragons seeing Spike, they just remember. what happened with that inner conflict. Maybe Spike's family was in the middle of it. I don't know. Makes me really think about it.
See, that's probably fun. And then you might say, and again, asking the why behind a situation. Why is there
Yep.
this Dragon Lord system? Why is there this code? Well, right, just off the top of my head, I can think of two things. One, the dragons reached this decision when they realized that they were so busy warring against each other that they were destroying their own hordes, that they were actually ruining their future. And so they came to agreement that someone had to be in charge, but how? One other idea I had, because, okay, I admit this is because everything in Milo Pony seems to be 5 degrees of separation from Star Swirl the Bearded.
Yeah.
He tended to make a lot of things, and he tended to mess everything up at the same time. I wonder if Star Swirl, in an effort to curtail dragon aggression, created that scepter and somehow introduced it into the dragon culture as a means of, well, control, because he was very big on immediate solutions but not big on respecting individuals, hence the problems with Stygian.
Hmm.
And if he was very
Right.
subtle, no one would be the wiser. Plus, if the Dragon Lord system started to have problems, well, then he'd have to be held to account. Uh, this brings up. It's funny we're talking about this. I've seen people debating if lore in a show is necessary, and while you don't have to be, I think, Lord of the Rings in depth on what came before, there's always the question of how did we reach this state? It's like studying our own history.
I I have to differ with you because as a dungeon master myself in D&D, I really like to have a huge Lord of the Rings style.
Ah,
But because here's the thing, when you get a series with way too much lore, you build this world, you create gods and everything. So everything is, intermingled. So everything has a reason why it's happening. So in my point of view, having huge amount of lore, it's really important on a show because then you'll be like, oh, and that's because and then you just start growing and growing, and then you just leave and set the path for people to expand on the world you created. Same thing as MLP did. MLP started with a simple but interesting lore, and then they expanded it with the seasons to the point that here we are talking about Spike's parents.
yes. It's funny.
So that,
Even Star Swirl.
exactly.
I'm
I
sorry.
remember the first episode where Starswell debuted was mentioned, and I was like, okay, who the hell is this guy? Because the name first sounds awesome, like Starswell the Bearded. That name is amazing. And I remember the early days of the fandom, and I'm pretty sure you do. Like everybody thinking about how powerful OP this guy was going to be. And then he just appeared in the IDW comics, and everybody lost their mind, including me, with Cool Guy King Sombra. I remember those early days of the fandom where everybody was losing their pants off, Starsfield to be its design and how powerful he was, and he was able to jump through dimensions and everything. And that was really cool. But we didn't start on the show till season six? No, seven?
Yeah, season 7.
Season seven, right? So you had 7 seasons to set up this character, insane amount of foreshadowing and bits of lore that when the moment he arrives, he's just gonna be like, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves and embrace because Stars Will Defeated is entering by door A. I remember watching him and I was like, dude. Well, I liked more the design of the IGW comics, personal, take on it. But when I saw him on the show and his voice, and I was just like, this is good. This is like really good. I really liked it.
And then they say never meet your heroes.
Indeed.
Though I don't strictly agree with that. Meet them, be disappointed, and realize that they're human. Then
Yeah,
meet them again as fellow humans.
indeed.
Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh. I'm just looking through some questions. How do the giant dragons fit into the dragon customs? Well, funny enough, man, most of the giant dragons disappeared. Oh, sorry. This is a question from Toad256.
Okay.
So it seems like about midway through the series, we really traded the big classic European style dragons for the smaller size, the younger teenage dragons, more often than not. And then there was Sludge, who was seemingly an adult but small. How are they big? I mean, offhand, I would say it's like when Spike grew large. What did Smolder call it? Sudden gigantism. It's possibly that they simply never grew beyond their vices. But then you had Torch, that massive dragon lord, who he seemed fully in control and mature and in control of himself. So I don't know. Perhaps the giant dragons we've seen are far more ancient, or dragons that gave into their immaturity.
I think that's more like it, like dragons that gave in on their immaturity. Because, for being a dragon lord, you have to be self-centered, because then your whole species is going to burn, literally. So, yeah. Sounds about right.
Oh, and Trinary is correcting me. Greed-induced bigness.
Oh, okay.
Gib. Yip. Let's see. Shifting gears to the art piece, I think I've given sufficient toys. Don't want to spoil the tots.
That's right.
And I think this is a pretty good place to say this is done. I've got the background, I've got the characters. I guess my only question is up here. Feels like it's kind of empty. You've got sort of a slope from Cadence to Spike downward, but then there's this big empty spot. Well, I mean, it's got a background, but still empty. I don't know. I'll have to ponder this. Sometimes it's good to get away from a piece. And
remember that less means more.
True. I don't just as I don't want to overload with toys. Oh, but I'm glad this is coming along nicely. But this does not mean we're done, because oh no. Well, first off, it means that this stroke is way off base. There we go. But in fact, I think as a special treat, I should show folks what I've been working on.
Ooh.
So yes, you're all going to get a preview. In fact, I think the remainder of our time this evening, I can start something new for my next video. See, now I tweeted this out. Silver-Quill Pony Life Edition. And we have all manner of poses, discussion, hello, talking, pointing out.
So what do you think about Pony Life? I really want to ask. A professional My Little Pony reviewer.
Oh, I don't know about professional, but I had fun watching it. It felt like they were trying very hard to compress the events of a Friendship is Magic episode into just 15 minutes, tops.
Okay.
But while there are stylistic choices that I'm not as big a fan of, such as the abstract backgrounds, I do recognize the characters and I do see what they are accomplishing and how they relate to one another. So I feel like the core of what I like about these characters is still there, which was critical. I mean, if that was gone, I'd be done with it on the spot.
Okay.
So I had fun. I think it's worth watching a little bit more to see how it goes. Plus, I
Okay.
worked hard on these poses. Dang it! I want to make full use of them.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, you don't want this to be. I'm an angry little quill. But
You have three legs. Oh, there you go. Two legs.
oh well, yeah. If I juxtapose the point out, then you wonder if I've been exposed to some radiation or some such. But
Okay.
what I just worked on last night, and this will be part of the ending. Silver-Quill enjoying a potion of his own. It's important to extend the pinky. Or, as Trinair points out, I didn't think you could get a bigger head. But one of the things I want to joke about is the fact that Pinky sells her. Well, no, she doesn't even sell. She gives her friends potions.
Yeah, there was never a mention on on Friendship is Magic that Pinky knows how to make potions. So that's interesting.
So I'm intrigued. Just where do you get these and why? So what?
Maybe Zagora.
Boy, Zakura is really expanding her resources. Then I think. But here, what I'm going to do, and I'm just grabbing a random image from the net, which, by the way, usually spells disaster.
Here we go.
But I want to do a joke because I can never just talk about an episode. Oh, no, perish the thought, please. Perish it. No, I need to have a little fun. I need to play with the stories. So, we are going to make. I have this scripted out, but I am going to have an infomercial for the potion. In particular, I shouldn't. I will spoil this much. Anyone who has not seen Pony Life and wants to be going completely innocent and unaware of any developments, I will wish you well, but I'm cautioned that I will talk about this one aspect. The potion. Well, okay, this potion bottle gets used a lot, but the potion in question is. Wait for it. Spoiler incoming. Last chance. Turn back now. It's a telepathy potion. It means basically you drink it, you knock your forehead against another person's noggin, and you can share your thoughts. So
I don't think that's how telepathy works, but that's Pony Life's you know way. Oh God.
So yeah, I just grabbed this. Residents of Quebec pay additional fees. What is he holding? I fear I've exposed something unsavory. Looks like a stapler. So,
It is a staple.
oh, thank goodness. Mostly I was just distracted by the Santa hat. So, I'm going to create a background for this joke as I infomercial a mind reading potion or a telepathy potion. So, I'm going to get rid of these pop ups that appear. Curse you, pop ups! Curse you all!
Be gone.
Oh, also, shout out to filmer Brony TV, who was hosting me and asking, how are you? I'm doing well. I'm having a good time chatting things up with Brony Chef and chatting with folks in the chats. But let's see. So while I get my act together, another question. If you turned into a Pokemon, what Pokemon would you like to be? There's a loaded question. How many are there now?
Around 800 ish.
Oh, See, back in my day, there were 150.
And then we lost our minds when 151 was announced.
And it was a Togepi. Or was it Mew? I forget. Meh.
It was it was me. Oh god. I think I'm gonna go way too cliche, but I really don't care. I really would like to turn into a squirrel.
Squirtle, squirtle?
Cool. Yeah, because then you can be like a giant turtle with two water cannons on your back. Cool. Turn into a Blastoise eventually.
There you go. Although I think you and I would then be rivals, as I would go with well, I guess my favorite Pokemon would be,
Charizard.
oh no, Arcanine.
Oh, Arcanine's beautiful.
It is. It's a big fiery puppy.
Indeed. Indeed. So I have a question for you. So
Yes.
I really hope you watched the movie Detective Pikachu.
Unfortunately, I haven't yet. I'm way behind. What I saw, people really enjoyed
I
it.
okay, I'm not gonna say anything else.
No, no, no. Look, I'm not super sensitive on spoilers.
No, no, no.
Believe me,
Because
I watch.
no, 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 it's all right. It's all right, but I really want your genuine reaction as soon as you see it.
Ooh,
Because you might flip out your mind, as I did.
might flip out. Ooh, my. I mean, I've already got Sweetie Bloom saying that I have to watch Fruits Basket.
Oh,
That's.
Fruits Basket's a really good anime. I really hope Tweety's take it's the 2000s one, which is really nice and comical. I
Mhm.
really enjoyed the new version of it, but I really like the old one. It's really nice.
So it's funny. It seems like every time I do one of these art streams, I end up with a sort of a, oh, I really need to watch that next. I mean, what was it? Talking with Aeon of Dreams, watching. Oh, dang it all! It's on the. I know the name, and yet it's escaping me. Brain fart. It is a cyberpunk esque story that deals a lot with justice and revoking the system. Has great rivals.
Love It Dead by Robots, maybe?
Uh, almost want to say paranoia agent, but that's not correct.
Okay.
Now I'll figure it out. Let's see here. Question is, well, I think this is the both of us, but we also talked about this earlier. Do we like Rainbow Dash?
Yes, I do like her.
Very much. I like her, but in terms of my, if I had to rank the main six based on relatability, she's probably the one I relate to the least, as I am not very athletic.
Ditto.
I grew to like her more as the series went on because I saw other sides than just the competitive pony.
Yeah, so I think the only episode I could relate with Rainbow Dash was the one with Tank,
Oh
where she was
yes.
trying to find out the weather. It really makes me cry every single time I hear that song. Like it
Mm.
really, really makes me cry so bad, and especially because um, uh, I at the moment that episode aired, I had my dog was 18 years old, so I knew the time was nigh.
Oh.
So I remember watching that episode on my bed. I just hugged my dog, and I was like, "Oh God, this is this sort of episode." And yeah, but I think that's the only episode I really could relate, especially because Rainbow Dash always goes full retard when she gets an episode.
Turns off her facilities and just becomes harder to celebrate.
No, it's like turns every single brain cell on her head and returns to the uh season one, episode one Rainbow Dash, who didn't learn anything towards, years and years of hanging around Twilight and their friends,
Hmm.
which is weird. Like, I know this guy, which I'm gonna plug. His videos are not even PG-13, but they're really fun. DWK.
Ah,
Probably
yes.
you have you probably have seen some or maybe all of the videos. It's like every single time Rainbow Dash has the episode, she has to go full on retard and then learn the lesson by herself because she doesn't listen to anybody of us. And that's true.
But some of her best episodes are when she's supporting another. I mean,
Exactly.
Flight to the Finish. I was like, oh, Rainbow, you're doing awesome.
Hurricane Fluttershy was great.
Yes, that's one of the best. Let's see here, man. Trying to go through.
Yeah.
I hate scrolling through fonts. I'm sure there are people out there who have memorized every nuance of a font, but I am not one of them. In fact,
Go
after
full Comic Sans.
oh, oh no, I went to okay, true story. Uh, a s- I went to the Art Institute of Colorado, uh, and they during the typography class they showed a student who won a national competition, and their typography they used Comic Sans, the most loathed font in all of the creative market, as far as I know. And this
No
person
way.
won.
No way. No. Oh god, I was just being sarcastic. But that actually hurts.
No, they found a way, I guess, to sort of mock it, but not. Let's see. Let's ditch the ultralight and go for maybe demi bold. Oh, so demi. It's like Demi Moore. But yeah, they won the whole competition. So don't knock it till you try it. I guess I'm not gonna try it though. Although okay, that and Papyrus are the two most ridiculed fonts as far as I know because they are so gimmicky.
Is that an Undertale reference?
I believe that is well definitely where they got their names,
Yes.
which is part of why we love them so. Although there's an Undertale abridged, but it's not really called that. It's a gosh, I'll have to look it up, but it's on YouTube. If you do a search for Undertale abridged, I'm confident you'll find it. And I think it's hilarious, especially because of how it portrays both Sans and Papyrus.
Undertale the Bridge.
Uh,
Have you seen Blundertail?
Blundertail. Wait, that may be the story I'm talking about. It's by the guys who were on Machinima for a time.
Blundertail the Untrying.
Nope, I'm thinking of something very different. No, I've not yet seen Blundertail. Again, this
I'm
is
just gonna leave it in Discord. It's 1 minute 49 seconds. It's it's easy. It's worth. You're gonna laugh.
let's see here. Now, you know what? I could use some help on this because we have all these credit cards, none of which are actually in Equestria. What is a good horse pun on Visa?
God. Okay. Hmm.
I'm waiting for I'm just a little bit ahead of the chat in this case because well the internet is weird like that. So I'm hoping I'll see some suggestions. Also, the suggestion is prank Bliss by pony lifing her, but she's already so small. I worry she'd blink out of existence or go microscopic level.
Hmm. Because American Express could be Equestrian Express. MasterCard could be. Hmm.
I like Pika Demos's suggestion, Naster card.
Nacer card. Yeah, that's a good one. But Visa is an interesting.
It's a four-letter word relating to horses. Oh, that's right. Sweet Bloom was pointing out Bliss did post a Pony Life version of her character on her Twitter. So do go check that out.
Who?
Lightning Bliss. Yeah, well, but I returned to horse. Man, I don't even know a
Horse.
horse term that starts with a V. I mean, surely there's something.
There has to be.
Ooh, Craftosaur has a good idea. Felicia, it sort of works, but trying to keep
Andrew
it.
Vushok also has the saddle.
Saddle. Ooh, I like that.
I do like that. That's a
Yes,
good one.
yes. Let's roll with that. Well done. I think that is a marvelous idea. This saddle.
That's a good one.
Now let's see here. I don't really have a Visa font. Odds are one of the sad things on the. Okay, how do I describe this? One of the things I learned is that a lot of the free fonts you find online are really stolen. They take a professionally designed font, one that does cost a lot. I mean, you ask why fonts are so expensive. It takes a tremendous amount of time to design every letter in the alphabet. So what people often do, and they shouldn't, is they take the font, change like just a tiny element of a few letters, call it a brand new thing, and release it for free. When really they've just coasted on someone else's efforts.
Oh.
So let's see here. I'm not gonna. If all it is adding a bit an extra swoosh though, type create outlines. Is this stuff I
Is the
learned?
Visa font not visible?
I
Oh God, sweetie, no!
see
You're
what you did there.
killing me.
I see what you did there. Still, I don't want to have my Visa Dale revoked. Ooh, that's a little. Wow, why is that so bright yellow? Oh, it's picking up the fonts. There we go. Now, this is part of the. See, folks, this is the less glamorous side of reviewing when you see someone just sort of spending all their time putting this together. I think I'm an anomaly in that regard. Although this makes me think, Chef, when you are working on a new dish, what's the process like?
Oh, well, it's first, I usually sleep with a notebook, and suddenly something pops into my head and be like, "Oh, bunch of ingredients," and I just write them down. And when I recover consciousness like a normal person after 3 cups of coffee in the morning, I yeah, um, I just start going, and depending how I feel and what I've been reading, I inspire my dishes. I
Ah,
remember once I was asked to create a Lord of the Rings inspired um, 6 course menu. So I literally went on this video. By the way, it's not sponsored by Audible, but here it goes away. I had to go to Audible and literally buy every single book of Tolkien,
oh my.
and I spent hearing all of the books, which took me over a week to hear all of the books while working on ingredients. Right, so when I finished the menu, they were like, I think I have them here. It was I remember one of them was a backend, which was basically an it was his name it was a pot, like a literal clay pot that had inside some, yes, money well spent indeed. Uh, it had some chocolate dirt, had some, and here goes a weird one, had some haggis inside of it.
Oh,
So
haggis.
I love haggis, bro. But here's the thing: if you process haggis on a really on a different way than the traditional, you can make it work with basically anything, right? So basically, it was just trial and error. And as soon as they saw this back end, they were like, "What the hell is this?" And it was just like, "You asked for a Lord of the Rings inspired, you know, menu. Here is it. Try it and call me." They never called me, but they did try it and they liked it. So that's all right. So that's how I work with recipes. Usually I just, make them on the air and be like, "Oh, well, I want to do this and I don't have this, in my pantry. How do I substitute this and this, right? This ingredient with this ingredient, or make it work ingredients in a way they were not meant to work?" So that's, how I usually approach creating dishes. Same thing for basically any cookbook I've wrote. It's like, for example, in the My Little Pony, the cookbooks I wrote a couple of years ago for My Little Pony, I was approaching the psychology of each pony individually and then pairing, you know, that psychology with an ingredient. And then with that ingredient, just using and creating different recipes, or using some recipes adding a different twist.
Very nice. And do you have like a tasting crew to try these things out?
Usually, they were my roommates at the time. Now it's my fiance, my family, myself, my students. Usually, whoever I grab a hand at the moment, they're like my guinea pigs. So basically, imagine Shokugeki no Soma asking people to try things, weird stuff, and then they might puke when they're not well executed.
Oh dear.
I am not denying nor accepting it because I'm not legally allowed to say this.
Okay. Well, I don't mean to push the realms of legality,
It's all right.
but you know,
Ooh, that Diners Club International might be Nyers Club International.
uh, oh dear. I think I failed to give a shout out. Yes, to Magical Star Flash. Sorry, Magical Star Flash, who is hosting this stream as well, which greatly appreciated. But talking about your recipes, you have a cookbook. Sweetie Bloom was demonstrating a dish last Friday.
Yes. Yes, I do. I actually have five.
F-
That's all right.
Five. Now, is there a place that folks could purchase these cookbooks?
Well, right now, you can purchase them via Twitter with me. Just hit me at Brony Chef and just be like, "Hey, I want a cookbook," and I'll send it to you. I used to have an Etsy shop, but it got so I got so weird. Yes, you only got four. Here's the thing, Sweetie Bloom. One of the books it's free. So one of the books it's a diabetic cookbook that I made. It was a custom made cookbook, and the person who commissioned me was like, just put it for free for everybody to use, so you can basically download it anywhere. So returning to the I used to have an Etsy shop, but it got way too convoluted for me because I was working at the moment. So I am working on setting it up again. So as soon as I get it, I'll be posting it on Twitter.
Excellent. We'll keep our eyes open for that. As I have no cooking skill, I'm always grateful for when someone with a art for in the craft can show me what I'm supposed to do. Heck,
Oh,
I only recently learned how to cook chicken a better way.
uh, you do need help.
I do. I do.
You, I can offer you some help next BabsCon or the next time we see each other, which I really hope it's BabsCon. Fingers crossed.
Yes, I have every intention of going to BabsCon next year. I understand and I actually appreciate that they called it off due to the current situation because that's putting everyone's health first and foremost.
Exactly. And it's really a tough decision at the end of the day to you know pull out a convention due to the current situation.
Yes.
Because you have way too many people. The hotel is already booked, and sometimes hotel policies. I used to be a corporate chef, are not so flexible with this kind of thing. So yeah,
I mean, you'd hope that they'd recognize the rather extraordinary situation, but that's not always the case.
it really isn't.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm probably gonna get all super serious again, and well, I try to keep these fun, but your sister is has a surgery upcoming.
Yes, yes, yes. She has a surgery on July the 10th. Was just confirmed 2 days ago. I confirmed it with the doctor, which I'm just currently struggling a little bit because I haven't got a chance to work due to this plague, and I had to close down my restaurant. I actually sold my car to to be able to afford it. So right now I am selling almost every single My Little Pony stuff I have in my possession to raise money, or if you are willing to donate. The link, I think it's pinned in my on my Twitter. So anything would be really, I really would appreciate any sort of help. People could help me with, because right now it's really really bad. Like in my city, look, there's no end. Like every single day we have 200 amount of increments of this things, cases and everything, which is really really bad.
All right, let's see here. Copy. I am going to post a link to this pinned tweet in the chat. So
Is it
everyone,
pinned?
I highly encourage you to go message it, shoot him a DM. Get a cookbook is always helpful. Trust me. Again, as someone with zero culinary skill, and also just a chance to help out a fellow fan who is looking out for his family. So again, I've made things serious. I'm doing that a lot tonight, but want to make sure we offer some support.
Yeah, yeah. And here's another tweet. If you just want to donate, this was thanks to Fiora, that created this one. So she was really nice. Like this. Oh my god! I just saw Lightning Bliss. Pony Life.
Oh,
Rosie. It's adorable. It really is adorable.
well, I mean, it's Lightning Bliss, so adorable is part of it. Sorry, Bliss, not
Yeah.
sorry.
Not sorry at all.
Not at all. Let's see here. Just getting some more questions. Jared Jenkins is sending hugs to the chef.
Thank you.
Question: why was I living in Celestia's Maine at the start of a Celestia celebration video? Well, I mean, it's roomy, it's flowing, and has TARDIS-like dimensions. What's not to love? I mean, I could certainly camp in other Maines, but I think that would just be weird. And let's see here. Question I thought of. Oh, another question. It's funny. I never intended to develop my own lore, and yet I've done so by being just bizarre. It's kind of like what we were talking about. I've done these things, and now people are asking, why? Why did you give up the alicorn amulet that you had at the end of one review, which found its way to TF2? Well, there's this website called eHay, lets you sell a bunch of stuff off, and start for cash. One slightly used alicorn amulet.
Nice. I was just asked a couple of days ago because I need to talk to you about a project that I'm about to start
Ooh.
with animation, about my OC's backstory, and I was just like, my OC doesn't have a backstory. He's just a pony chef. That's all. And he was like, but it does need to have like a background. I was like, no, he doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm not that creative and those sort of things. Just just got really, really interesting. Which is, well, you know what? It's great. I'm gonna spoil it. Right now, I'm currently working on with some animators to create a sort of um, cooking animation cooking videos, cooking classes on video
Ooh.
using you know well, cartoons, showing people how to cook with cartoons. So we're emulating 1990s as cartoon style, also with some 1950s cartoon style, which is going to be really interesting. So expect some rubber paws on the elevation. So that's going to be interesting.
That sounds
So
awesome.
yeah, I've been recording for the last couple of days, lots and lots of lines. So that's been interesting.
Let's see here. Well, if you're asking, your chef character needs a backstory, that does beg the question of how you yourself wanted to become a chef.
Well, I can use that. Like I've always been, entitled to the kitchen. I always lived on the kitchen. When I was 9 years old, my dad, lost his job, and we opened a Chinese restaurant with our mom's friend, Mrs. Lee. And I was 9 years old at the moment, and I was cooking the fried rice when I was a little kid. Like they were serving my fried rice when I was a little kid, and that was because one day when I arrived from elementary school, I was hungry as hell. The cook was on his break, so he was not able to cook because we are human beings, even though people think cooks and chefs are not. We are. We tend to eat when you're eating, which is weird, but believe me, that's happened. Um, then I just grab all the ingredients, but I really love adding ginger to my fried rice because it's just gives this amount of freshness to the dish, which is really nice, right?
Mm.
So I start cooking. I left it on my on the table I was going to eat, and Mrs. Lee just popped in. I went to the kitchen for my pop because I forgot the my pop that I was going to eat, and she was just digging my dish, and she was crying, and she was like, "Who made this?" And I was like, that is it bad?" And she was like, "No, it's really good." It's like literally how my mom used to make it when she was living in China. So from that day on, I started making the fried rice in the restaurant we owned. So after that, I tried, playing football. I had an accident, um, which I had some minor head trauma. So I had to go out of the soccer industry and return back to the kitchen. So is that a good, background story, Mister Professional reviewer?
Well, let's see here. One, that is a fantastic story all on its own. I mean, truly. Though I have to wonder, did you say to your friend, Hey, you took my dinner.
Yes, yes, I did. Absolutely, I did.
Absolutely, totally. All right. Well, let's see here. Granted, I guess I do caution you don't want to make your OC's life too much like your own. Otherwise,
Okay.
otherwise, yeah, I find that road lies dangerous. But I'm intrigued that you go from you had you tried soccer and suffered an injury. What if your OC had a grand sports career, an injury brought them low, brought them out of it for a time, and while in the hospital recovering, the food was just so bad. I mean, honestly, hospital food I think is really good, but people.
It's really bad hospital food.
Oh, okay. Well,
The
I
three hospitals I've been, in, the food's just disgusting.
well, okay. The food was so bad that perhaps this character, this pony, stole into the kitchen just to make something decent, something good.
That sounds all right.
And then if perhaps a dish was accident somehow made it to the floor and like several ponies who were also in recovery were just weeping for joy of how good it was. Next thing you know, the pony has found their true calling. In fact, that might be the moment they really earn their cutie mark. Or I've always been curious if a cutie mark could change if you've recognized a new destiny, so to speak.
That's really interesting.
So
Never thought about
now I confess I've only stayed overnight in a hospital once, and I thought the food was decent, but mostly I was still going, "Oh my God, what just happened? I only came in for a pain in my abdomen. Why am I going under the knife? Huh? Huh?"
it. Well, the first time I went to the hospital, I was roughly unconscious. So I was on the field when I was conscious, and the next time I woke up, I was on the table on the butchering board, and it was like, "Caesar, can you hear anything?" I was like, "Yeah, count to 10. 1, 2," and then I woke up and I was in my room and I was like, "What the hell happened? What's going on? This is weird." And really, the food was really really bad because it didn't have to have salt nor fat.
Mm.
It had to be boiled. The only decent thing was the Jello, but that's just because it's pre-made. You just have to put hot water,
Mm.
and that's it. Besides that, I had a flavorless chicken sandwich. Sorry,
Hmm. That does sound
I can
disappointing.
relate to that. I can relate to that background story.
Well, there you go. That might be a starting point. See, this is fun. I mean, again, we're asking why. Why does this character love cooking? Well, something must have happened to really. It needs more than just the cooking itself. And you ask why, and you come up with these ideas. In answering the
Oh,
questions you demand of yourself. And that's part of the fun. That is the mini lore. Eh? Eh?
very nice. And I saw what you did there.
Although, if we're sharing medical brouhahas, I guess I should share a story. Birthday when I was like turning 10, running to greet my dad, I slipped and hit the wall at an angle, like the corner. Gave me a
Oh god.
right good cut in the head. So parents take me to the emergency room, and I take one look at the needle the doctor produces to put me under so they can do the stitches. And I with my little hands I cup my dad's face and I look him square in the eye and I say, "Dad, put a band-aid on it and let's get out of here." I'm fondly
I
recalling that because it's my father's birthday tomorrow, and so we'll be
oh
celebrating. that's a wonderful memory in hindsight. It wasn't so cool when I saw that needle.
At the moment. Yeah, I can imagine. Well, please do congratulate your father on my behalf.
Oh, I shall. And it's good times. So, but I greatly appreciate you letting us know about this upcoming project. I'd be fascinated to see what you create. Both,
Because here's the thing, I want to have special guests on the show, so that's why I'm asking my friends. And I was really waiting for when you told me you wanted to be on the show. I was I was going through my friend list and I was like, I need to file Silver-Quill because I want his OC to be on a Batman suit because our first conversation was Batman related. And they was like, "Hey, would you like to be?" I was like, "Yes, I'll wait till the moment of the show, and I'll invite him."
well, I'd be thrilled. I mean, and funny enough, I actually do have Silver Quill in a Batman costume
Yes,
because I'm Batman.
it's Batman.
I'm
Do
Batman.
you do you marble uh, glass shards to make the voice,
I will
or do
talk
you
like
just
this because I'm Batquill. But I'm gonna need a lozenge after. Urgh.
Oh god, this.
I might need some salt water. I hear if you gargle with that, it works out pretty well.
Oh, yeah, he used it.
Because I'm Batman.
Oh,
Or maybe it should be because I'm Batquill. That's right.
everything.
All right.
Oh,
Now, we're just about coming to a close because I never want to demand everyone's time. Also, funny
that's
enough,
all right.
talking about these wonderful dishes has actually made me very hungry.
There we go.
But I've still got Dinners Club International out here.
Nyers Club International.
Nyers Club. All right. Or what about because I've got Nate Naster card over here?
Oh,
Isn't
that's right. That's right.
isn't like is Wickers? Is that a horse term? No, no. Cantor's Club. Ooh, yeah, Cantor's Club International.
Cantor's Club. That's nice. Sounds refined.
Refined and classy. I'm sure Fancy Pants is a part of it. Oh.
Of course he is.
Now, while I'll be celebrating my dad's birthday this weekend, tomorrow will be devoted to getting a review video. I'm a good chunk of the way there, but there's still more to do, obviously, as I'm still working on this. Oh, but when I started, it was somewhat easier. But now I don't want to let people down, so I want to make something really memorable, even if it's just for a bad joke. So I don't know. My advice to people is if it comes down to being memorable or voluminous, I actually side with memorable.
That's a good one.
I hope so. It's all I got.
Like always trying to, create a legacy for people to remember.
Well, I think I mean, you've already told several amazing stories this evening that I'll certainly remember, and I think the folks in the chat shall.
Hopefully. But come on. Like, Civical, it's like the whole persona of Civical is just amazing.
I appreciate that. I don't know. I've had honestly, I still am amazed at being in the fandom. You know, I never thought I'd go to conventions and actually then start be an active participant in them, more than just a panel. I never thought I'd be streaming or getting to talk to you about well trips to Japan. Basically, I'm always amazed at what this fandom ups and downs, but it's caused me to go beyond my comfort zone far more than I anywhere else. It's amazing.
Right. Like, I never thought about, being an active member of the community when I started all of this. But then this guy with a mustache came over and just, crushed all of my expectations. You probably know him. His name is Dusty Cat. And he was like, "Oh, well, too bad. Here, go to conventions, be happy." So he was like literally the first, horse famous big brony that trust me into this, train wreck that's called the brony community. Yes, you hear a dog. It's my dog. She likes to bark at random stuff that she doesn't like. So recently, she was just barking at my umbrella because she didn't like where it was.
No, see, she's a Resident Evil fan. She knows not to trust Umbrella.
Yeah, that's right.
But oh, love dogs. My my
They're the best.
favorite. I mean, no disrespect to cat lovers. I have nothing against cats except severe allergies. My eye.
Oh, you're also in the club. Welcome. I hate that.
Oh, it's just my eyes swell up like a demonic bullfrog.
Oh, I just stopped breathing. That bad.
Just like, I'm sorry, Kitty. I've nothing against you personally, but you were killing me. You're killing
like
my
like
eyes.
like I remember the first time I went to a friend's place, and he didn't tell me he had a cat. So as soon as I just popped in, I started coughing, and I was like, "Huh, weird." I started sneezing, and I was like, "Huh, weird." And then I really couldn't breathe, and I was like, "Do you have a cat?" And he was like, "Yeah." It was like, "Oh, okay. Can your mom rush me to the hospital, to the ER? Why? Because I'm having an allergic reaction." So I had to pop in. My mom was like, "What happened?" And I was just like, "Cat." She was like, "Oh, cat." Yeah. I really love cats, but they literally kill me.
Oh dear. Oh, well, there you have it. We love cats, but they cause us distress.
Unfortunately.
Alrighty. Well, everyone, I think this is a good spot. I am almost a little bit more tweaking, and I'll have this ready to go for the video. All that's left is, oh yeah, I will spoil. The phone number will be 1-800 not real.
Damn it.
I know. I wish it were real too, but although maybe I don't. I don't know if I want people just to look inside my brain.
Maybe 1-800 Gimme GM bits. Gimme bits.
Hmm. Bits mine.
There
No,
you go.
no, that's three. That's four letters instead of three. Hmm. Well, I'll figure it out. But this is part of the fun, just being silly. Thank you everyone for helping with horse puns. I especially love Visaddle and Nastercard
Those are really good.
and Cantor's Club. So everyone, thank you for your creativity and contributions. And Brony Chef, thank you for coming on and chatting with us and just sharing some remarkable stories.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, and I hope, and if we can help and with any future, just say the word. Put the word out, please.
Thank you so much. I'm really stubborn like an applejack.
That's
So
fine.
Fiora had to bitch to slap me to accept that I needed help. So there you go.
Well, always good. Always good to have a friend who will get you help even when you're being stubborn. And yes, I can relate
Yeah,
to that
that's right.
very much. But everyone, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for hosting in some cases, like Filmer Brony TV, Crid's Blessing, Stay Brony Forever, and Magical Starflash. Thank you all. Oh, and of course, Fiora for raiding with a party of 15. Much appreciated. So have a wonderful weekend. Be safe, be healthy, and we will catch you again. I'm Silver-Quill. Thanks for watching.
See you later.